What if I told you some of the wildest Mustangs ever built never made it to your local dealership? Hidden deep in backrooms, barn finds, or locked behind garage doors for decades, these are the untold stories of the Mustangs Ford built in secret. The prototypes, the mules, the one-offs that never should have survived. Buckle up because today we're diving into the top 10 ultra-rare 60s Mustangs that Ford built in secret. Top 1. 1962 Mustang 1 Concept, mid-engine roadster. Before the Mustang ever kicked up dust on Main Street, before it became America's pony car, there was an experimental idea that almost rewrote Ford's entire playbook. Meet the 1962 Mustang 1 Concept, a radical mid-strain roadster that nearly made Corvettes irrelevant before the Mustang name even hit the streets. Back in the early 60s, Ford was desperate to shake its staid image. Lee Iacocca and a handful of rebel designers quietly dreamed up something so wild, even top brass thought they were nuts. The Mustang 1 concept was hand-built in secret. Only 2 complete prototypes were ever made, hidden in Ford's advanced styling studio. From the outside, it looked like something out of a sci-fi magazine. Tiny aluminum body, open cockpit, sleek side pods, and a pointed nose that sliced the wind. No backseat, no roof, just pure unapologetic speed. Inside, it was all about the driver. Minimal gauges, deep bucket seats, and a wood-trimmed wheel that screamed European racing influence. The real shock came when you peered behind the driver. Instead of a boring sedan V8, the Mustang 1 packed a 1.5-liter mid-mount V4, a Cosworth-produced screamer making about 109 horsepower, in a chassis that weighed just 1,200 pounds. It could rip from 0 to 60 in under 10 seconds, carving corners like a Lotus, while GM's Corvette felt suddenly old and heavy. But the public wasn't ready for a street-legal race car. Ford pulled the plug, locking the Mustang 1 away, its radical bones too advanced for 1962. Today, the Mustang 1 is a ghost. The forbidden blueprint that dared to make Ford a sports car icon overnight. Its DNA would echo in every Mustang that followed, even if the midstream dream never saw a showroom. But what if Ford didn't give up? What if that first radical idea evolved into a sleeker, faster secret that hinted at the Mustang we know today? Up to 1963 Mustang 2 Concept, Fastback prototype. Sometimes the cars that never made it to showrooms leave the biggest mark. Just 1 year after the radical Mustang 1, Ford's secret design lab quietly unveiled the 1963 Mustang 2 concept, the test mule that turned an outlandish mid-same idea into the silhouette every pony car fan knows by heart. Ford was on a mission to make the Mustang name more realistic, but they weren't ready to go boring either. So behind locked studio doors, designers hammered out a car that was part showpiece, part rolling experiment. The Ford X test mule was unique. Only one fully finished Mustang 2 concept existed. The Mustang 2 concept was longer and lower than the Mustang 1, but just as daring. It sported the now axonic fastback roofline, a flowing hood scoop, and side scoop sculpted into the flanks. Subtle hints of racing DNA. Painted pearlescent white with bold striping, it looked like it could roll straight onto the track. Inside it was show car flash with a touch of practicality. Sporty bucket seats, a floor mount shifter, deep set gauges, and a dramatic center console that hinted at the Mustang's muscle car future. Under the hood, the Mustang 2 ditched the tiny V4 of its predecessor. Instead, it packed a prototype V8 borrowed from the Fairlane line, around 260 cubic inches, making roughly 160 horsepower. Combined with its lightweight shell, this meant 0 to 60 in about 8 seconds. Not quite a midstream screamer, but a Corvette baiting street machine that felt right for the time. This was the moment Ford realized it could tame the Mustang dream into something mass-produced yet wild enough to challenge America's favorite fiberglass sports car. The Mustang 2 concept never sold, but its fastback styling and performance cues lived on. Within months, the public would see echoes of this secret mule when the production Mustang finally dropped Jaws in '64. But before Ford's pony car hit showrooms, another hush-hush project nearly changed the Mustang forever. A chopped two-seater that vanished before the world could see it. Top 3. 1965 Mustang Shorty prototype. Some legends get locked away in vaults. Others disappear for decades, leaving behind nothing but whispers. The 1965 Mustang Shorty prototype was Ford's secret two-seater dream. A radical fastback that nearly turned the Mustang into something no one expected, and then vanished before anyone could stop it. While the production Mustang was an instant hit, Lee Iacocca's secret skunkworks team wasn't finished experimenting. The Shorty was hand-built by Dearborn Steel Tubing under a hush-hush contract. Just one real Shorty was ever made. Designers took a 1965 Mustang Fastback and chopped a massive 16-inch out of its wheelbase, turning it into a true two-seater sports coupe. From the outside, it looked like a miniature rocket. Aggressive fastback roofline, custom fiberglass panels, shorter overhangs, scooped flanks, and a one-off grille that looked ready to bite. Painted a deep metallic silver, the Shorty gleamed under show lights. Inside, it was pure concept car magic. Special leather bucket seats, a sporty console, custom gauges, and zero back seat. This was a Mustang reimagined as a Corvette fighter. Under the Shorty's stubby hood sat a high-performance 289 cubic QV V8, tuned for around 300 horsepower. Wild numbers for a lightweight two-seater in 65. Rumors says the Shorty could hit 0 to 60 in about 6 seconds flat. Ford paraded it at a few auto shows to gauge interest, but the project scared the bean counters. They worried it would cannibalize standard Mustang sales. Before they could scrap it, the Shorty was borrowed by an executive who never returned it. It vanished for decades, hidden in storage, believed stolen, and thought lost forever. Decades later, the Shorty prototype resurfaced in a Detroit warehouse, dusty but intact. An irreplaceable window into what the Mustang might have become if Ford had dared to go all in on the two-seater dream. But while the Shorty played with style, Shelby and a man named Ken Miles were secretly building a Mustang so savage it would tear up racetracks and rewrite pony car history forever. Top 4 1965 Shelby GT 350 R5 R2 Ken Miles prototype. While Ford was busy dreaming up street cars, Carroll Shelby and Ken Miles were doing something else entirely behind closed garage doors, turning the Mustang into a track dominator that would leave Corvettes humiliated in the corners. That savage transformation began with one car, the 1965 Shelby GT 350 R5 R2 prototype. When Shelby American got their hands on the Mustang, they knew the chassis was decent, but not race-ready, so they secretly pulled a small batch of Mustangs from Ford's San Jose plant, with one car 5R2 handpicked as the test mule. Ken Miles, Shelby's top test driver and racing genius, personally tuned this car on the airfield runways of California. From the outside, it looked stripped and angry. Wimbledon white paint, blue Le Mans stripes, flared fenders, plexiglass windows, hood pins, and that iconic front apron to suck in more air. The inside was all business. No back seat, no soundproofing, just a roll bar, racing buckets, and a dash full of Stewart Warner gauges ready to rattle your fillings loose. Under the hood sat the heart of this beast, a 289 high PO V8, blueprinted and massaged to squeeze out around 350 horsepower. Combined with the car's lightweight shell, it could rocket from 0 to 60 in about 5.5 seconds, blistering for 65. This prototype shredded SCCA tracks, humiliating European sports cars and Corvettes alike, winning its very first race at Green Valley Raceway with Ken Miles at the wheel. The wildest secret? The GT350R was never meant to be a big seller. Only 36 were built, and 5R2 was the one that proved it could work. Today, 5R2 is a legend on wheels. The first GT350R, the machine that made the Mustang a real threat at any road course, and the priceless link between street cars and Shelby's racing empire. But if Shelby's GT350R was raw muscle for the track, wait until you see how he squeezed a 427 Le Mans engine into a Mustang and created a monster built to shred tires and rule the open road. Meet the Super Snake. Top 5 1967 Shelby GT500 Super Snake prototype. When Carroll Shelby wanted to prove his Mustangs could outrun anything on four wheels, he didn't just bolt on a few ghost-fast goodies. He stuffed a full-on 427 Le Mans race engine under the hood of an unsuspecting GT500. The result? The one and only 1967 Shelby GT500 Super Snake prototype. A secret tire shredder so insane, not even Ford dared to build it again. It all started with Goodyear. They wanted to show off their new Thunderbolt tires and asked Shelby to build a car brutal enough to test them at insane speeds. Shelby's crew grabbed a regular GT500 and transformed it in secret at the Los Angeles shop. Only one true Super Snake prototype was ever built. No duplicates, no second batch. This lone GT500 was Shelby's personal bullet to prove a Mustang could outrun anything on four wheels. On the outside, it looked like any other GT500. Wimbledon white paint, twin blue racing stripes, scooped hood, functional side vents, and those signature fog lights in the grille. But look closer, and you'd see hints of madness. Deep dish wheels, race-ready suspension tweaks, and a stance that said this was no Sunday cruiser. Inside, it kept that Shelby vibe. Wood-rimmed steering wheel, racing buckets, roll bar, and Stewart Warner gauges glaring at you like warning lights for the apocalypse. Under the hood lurked a 427 cubic inch V8 pulled straight from the GT40 program, the same brute that won Le Mans for Ford. Pushing an easy 520 horsepower, the Super Snake prototype blasted from 0 to 60 in about 4 seconds flat, topping out near 170 mph. It annihilated the Thunderbolt tire test and left everyone wondering, could Shelby build more? He wanted to, but after calculating how expensive this monster would be, Ford slammed the brakes. No one was ready for a street Mustang this savage. Decades later, the lone Super Snake remains the ultimate what-if Shelby. Priceless, irreplaceable, and a testament to how far Carroll would push the Mustang when nobody was watching. But Shelby's secret lab didn't stop at one wild prototype. Wait till you see the lost Mustang he hid under a notchback roof. Twin superchargers and enough attitude to become a ghost for 50 years. Top 6 1967 Shelby GT500 Little Red prototype. Most Mustang stories start with fastbacks and big stripes, but Little Red was different. It was Shelby's secret rebel, a one-of-a-kind 1967 GT500 notchback that hid twin superchargers, Thunderbird taillights, and a story so wild it vanished for half a century. While Carroll Shelby's shop was busy cranking out GT350S and GT500S, they quietly built Little Red as an experimental lab on wheels. Why a notchback? Because Shelby wanted to see if he could expand the GT500 lineup and push the Mustang's image further upscale. From the curb, Little Red looked menacing yet classy. Candy apple red paint, unique fiberglass nose, hood scoops that could swallow pigeons, and side vents that gave it a sleek custom feel. Instead of the familiar fastback roofline, it wore the formal notchback shape, the only factory-built Shelby GT500 to ever do so. Out back, Thunderbird taillights added a touch of luxury. Inside, it was Shelby attitude with extra intrigue. High-back buckets, roll bar, special badging, and prototype switches for the twin Paxton superchargers lurking under the hood. And that's where the real shock hit. Unlike any other GT500, Little Red packed a special 428 big block, force-fed by twin Paxton blowers that cranked out an estimated 600 horsepower, a jaw-dropping figure for 1967. It could rocket from 0 to 60 in under 5 seconds, making it a Corvette-crushing monster with the soul of a luxury coupe. But Ford and Shelby pulled the plug, fearing the market wasn't ready for a big supercharged notchback. Little Red was shipped around for dealer demos, then vanished. Stashed away on a Texas ranch, rumored stolen, assumed crushed. For decades, Mustang hunters swore Little Red was gone forever. Then, in 2018, it resurfaced. Dusty, battered, but alive. Today, it's one of the greatest barn finds ever, the holy grail of Shelby prototypes. But Shelby's secrets didn't stop at mind-bending horsepower. Wait till you see how they turned rental cars into undercover racers. The hush-hush Hertz engineering mule. Top 7, 1966, Shelby GT350. Hertz engineering mule. Most people think the GT350H was just a rental car for weekend warriors. But before you could rent Shelby's Fury for $17, there was one secret engineering mule, the car that proved the world was reckless enough to unleash a race-bred Mustang from an airport counter. In 1966, Carroll Shelby struck a hush-hush deal with Hertz to test his bold rent-a-racer idea. But handing over powerful, high-strung GT350S to the general public was risky. So Shelby's team built a hidden test mule, a black and gold coupe that never hit a rental lot. From the outside, it wore the iconic gold Le Mans stripes, chrome Magnum 500 wheels, hood scoop, and side exit exhaust. But look closer and you'd spot race tweaks that never made it to standard Hertz cars. Reinforced subframe, extra bracing, and a beefed-up rear axle to survive weekend burnout abuse. Inside, it was stripped down. Roll bar mounts, racing harness points, and a dash full of prototype gauges that Shelby's engineers used to monitor every stunt. Under the hood sat the real reason the Hertz engineering mule was feared, a 289 high-po V8 tuned to squeeze out over 306 horsepower, coupled to a 4-speed manual instead of the automatic most renters got. The mule's job? Survive track days and street shakedowns disguised as customer tests. Rumors swirl that Shelby's crew even drag raced it against unsuspecting Corvette owners on the weekends, dialing in tweaks to keep the rental fleet just tame enough. But the secret was out. Hertz buyers loved the thrill, even if it meant cars came back with blown clutches and swapped tires. That single test mule proved the rent-a-racer was crazy enough to work. Today, collectors still hunt for it. A black and gold ghost that laid the blueprint for the most infamous rental car stunt in American muscle history. But Shelby's experiment with rental racers was just the beginning. Next, see how Ford secretly cooked up a wild dealer special for the Kansas Plains, the Twister Special. Top 8, 1966, Mustang Twister Special, pre-production mules. Some Mustangs were born in boardrooms. The Twister Specials were born in backrooms. Hush-hush dealer specials meant to unleash wild V8 thunder on the flat plains of Kansas. But before the famous 70 Twisters, a handful of secret 1966 Twister pre-production mules paved the way, and almost nobody knew they existed. Back in the mid-60s, Ford's regional managers realized they could spark local Mustang fever with dealer-only special editions. In Wichita, Kansas, smack in the middle of tornado country, they hatched the Twister plan. But before any factory-ordered run, they needed test cars. So Ford slipped out an estimated handful, maybe 5 to 10 1966 Fastbacks with hidden codes, loaded with unique performance options never listed in brochures. From the curb, they looked like any other Fastback. Clean lines, GT fog lights, styled steel wheels. But a few wore prototype side stripes and color combos that made them stand out if you knew where to look. Under the skin, they got heavy-duty suspensions, special gear ratios, and in some cases, dealer-installed Hypo 289S or even Big Bach 428S. Unthinkable for a small-town showroom. These pre-production mules were more than marketing bait. They were rolling R&D labs for Ford's secret regional muscle car strategy. Rumor has it a few were drag-pressed late at night on Kansas backroads to make sure they could smoke Corvettes before the official Twister specials ever hit the showroom floor. 0 to 60 in under 7 seconds meant these ordinary fastbacks were anything but hidden performance that locals whispered about but never saw in Ford's glossy ads. Most 66 Twister mules vanished into trade-ins and scrapyards, their secret options forgotten. Today, finding one with its original paperwork is like discovering a tornado in a barn. A glimpse into how Ford used regional tricks to stoke Mustang legend from state to state. But not every secret Mustang was built to terrorize highways. Some were drop-tops made to test how far Shelby's racing spirit could bend. Top 9, 1966, Shelby, GT350, convertible prototype. When people think Shelby GT350S, they picture raw, loud fastbacks snarling around road courses. But behind the scenes, Carroll Shelby toyed with a drop-top version so radical that only a handful escaped the shop doors. The ultra-rare 1966 Shelby GT350 convertible prototype. By '66, the GT300 was already a racing legend. But Shelby knew some Mustang fans craved open Sager muscle with real track cred. In secret, his team pulled just 4 K-code convertibles off Ford's San Jose line. At the Venice facility, they transformed these cars into GT350 drop-tops, testing how the stiff, race-bred setup could handle without a roof. From the outside, the prototypes looked like fastbacks with their tops chopped off. Wimbledon white paint, blue Le Mans stripes, hood scoop feeding the Hypo 289, side stripes and wide-mouthed exhaust tips, hinting at the beast beneath. The Shelby badge on a convertible deck lid turned heads at every gas station. Inside, the GT350 convertible prototypes got the same no-nonsense treatment. Racing buckets, roll bar mounts, wood rim wheel, and Stewart Warner gauges glaring at you like they belonged in a pit lane. But the real surprise sat under that vented fiberglass hood, the Hypo 289 V8, conservatively rated at 306 horsepower, enough to push these convertibles from 0 to 60 in around 6 seconds. A true topless track car, it cornered better than it had any right to. But Shelby worried buyers wouldn't accept a race Mustang with a power top, so they kept the project under wraps, using the Mules for engineering tweaks, dealer demos, and press stunts. Only 4 real GT 350 convertibles were ever built in '66. Today, surviving prototypes are million-dollar unicorns, proof that sometimes even Shelby's wildest dreams stayed hidden in plain sight. But if you thought an open-sight Shelby was wild, wait until you see Ford's factory drag monsters, the secret A/FX 427 SOHC Mustangs that shredded rulebooks and burned rubber by the quarter mile. Top 10 1965 Mustang A/FX 4/27 SOHC drag car. In the mid-60s, Detroit's drag strips turned into war zones, and Ford needed a secret weapon to take on Chrysler's Hemis and Chevrolet's big blocks. Enter the 1965 Mustang A/FX 427 SOHC drag car. A factory-built, lightweight monster so brutal it shredded tires, rulebooks, and egos alike. Long before street Mustangs rolled into high school parking lots, Ford's drag racing division was quietly building fewer than a dozen A/FX, Advanced Factory Experimental, Mustangs. These cars weren't meant for cruising, they were designed to dominate the NHRA's factory experimental class. From the outside, they looked like standard Wimbledon white coupes or fastbacks. But eagle-lined racers knew better. Acid-dipped body panels, fiberglass doors and fenders, plexiglass windows, and skinny steel wheels wrapped in slicks made these cars featherweight assassins. Inside, they were all business. No carpet, no radio, just a single racing seat, a roll cage welded tight, and a giant tack staring the driver down before every green light. The real shock sat between those stripped fenders. The 427 cubic pigs SOH Cammer V8, Ford's legendary single overhead cam powerhouse, pushing well over 600 horsepower when uncorked. 0 to 60? Irrelevant. These Mustangs lived a quarter mile at a time, blasting through in the low 10s on a good day. Some rumors claim Ford's engineers ran them after hours on deserted runways, dialing in clutch setups and gear ratios to keep Mopars sweating. Only a handful of these A/FX drag units were ever built, and most were destroyed in the brutal life of match racing. But the legend of the 427 Cammer Mustangs lives on, a reminder that sometimes the wildest Mustangs never saw the street, but left their rivals choking on tire smoke at the drag strip. The 1965 Mustang A/FX 427 SOHC drag car wasn't just a machine, it was the ultimate secret sledgehammer that proved the Mustang could be a savage quarter-mile killer long before the world ever called it a pony car icon. And there you have it, 10 secret-bred Mustangs that Ford never wanted you to see, but every true muscle car fan dreams of finding. Legends hidden in plain sight, built in back rooms, raced in secret, and now living on in stories like this. If you enjoyed this ride through Mustang history, hit that like button, drop a comment on which lost legend you'd park in your garage, and subscribe to Muscle Cars Revolution for more untold muscle stories every week. Thanks for watching, keep the revolution rolling, and I'll catch you on the next burnout.